Hello, YouTube family. This your boy Teddy B, or Go Ask Teddy 92. You can like and subscribe if you like the content. But today, I want to talk about the effects of peer pressure and knowing when to walk alone. I don't care how long you've been knowing someone. You could have been knowing them since you was 10 years old, 12 years old, 5 years old, whatever the case may be. But you have to know when to walk alone. And I'm going to use this 1995 movie, The Basketball Diaries, which I consider a classic, in my opinion, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Mark Wahlberg, Ernie Hudson, Michael Rappaport. It's a classic, in my opinion. If you haven't seen the movie, check it out. But I wanted to use his movie as an example. It's based on a true story on a real person named Jim Carroll. But I want to give this example because I believe someone out there in the world can learn lessons from it. And the character that I'm going to use as an example is Neutron. Neutron was best friends with Jim, Mickey, and Pedro. And Neutron, he used to do mischievous things, do a little petty stuff, but he really didn't do anything out of the ordinary. Just a typical rebellious teenager, but he still went to school. They went to a Catholic high school. He was a standout basketball player. Jim was a standout high school basketball player. And also Mickey was a standout basketball player. Pedro was the only one that wasn't an athlete. He just, hung out with the crew. He was real tight with them. But the point that I'm making is, once Neutron started seeing the changes in his friends, and they was friends for a long time. Once he started seeing effects of how Jim, Mickey, and Pedro started getting into hardcore drugs and beating up old people and for money for drugs and not caring about their grades in school and things of that nature, Neutron slowly for surely, if you haven't watched the movie, I'm not going to tell the whole movie, slowly for surely, Neutron distanced himself from him. He had love for him, but at the same time, he knew they was headed down a terrible road that he didn't want to go on. In the movie, Neutron smoked a little bit as far as marijuana or drink, but he didn't go pop the little pills here and there, but he didn't go as far as continuously going for the extra high, chasing that extra high. People would consider he was a weekend type of person that turned up on the weekends and things of that nature. But you gotta know in real life, you gotta know when to distance yourself like Neutron did. Once Neutron distanced himself, everything was still going great for him. Jim, Pedro, and Mickey, they ended up going down a whole terrible slippery slope, unfortunately, in the movie. Neutron ended up playing All-American in the All-American basketball game. It's a scene in the movie where Mickey and Jim is at the bar. They look high as ever, look tore down. They see him on TV, and you can see the look of regret on Jim's face because he knew if he stayed focused and stayed sober enough, he would have been playing in an All-American high school game as well, because he was considered a very cold basketball player, a standout. Mickey too. Mickey idolized Wilt Chamberlain, but obviously he didn't go the Wilt Chamberlain route. He ended up going the drug addict route, and that was messed up to see. And you could just see the look of regret. And the Mark Wahlberg character, Mickey, he had regret too, but he ended up saying, I got to go outside, but that was a coping mechanism. Like, he didn't want to see that because he knew, he even said it in the bar with Jim that I could have played in that game. Yeah, you could have if you stayed focused and stayed away from the drugs. They ended up getting kicked out of high school, all types of stuff. But my point that I'm making is to you young kids out here that's 13 through 16, 17, or even adults, you got to know when to walk away from your friends. I don't care how long you've been tight with them. I don't care if you could have played Little League with them, AAU. Even if you're not an athlete, I don't care how tight you was with them. You could have been tight with them since 2 years old. Your both of your parents, like both of your mothers or fathers, could have been tight, and y'all grew up together. Things change and people change, and I think a lot of times that us in general as people, we don't want to accept that. You don't want to accept that that person changed for the worse. And that's what put people in horrible situations. Like, you got to be strong enough mentally that you securing yourself like Neutron. That's what Neutron was my favorite character in there, because he had the mental toughness to stay away from all that. Even though he was tight from them for the longest. And it was going to be hard. And don't get me wrong, it do be hard. If you've been knowing someone, like, we as humans, we conditioned to stay and be around people that we're comfortable with. Like, you don't want to embrace change right away. You be hoping for the best. Like, bro, this person, they gonna get it together or whatever. But I'm just being honest. Like,